With sincere thanks to the Precast Prestressed Concrete Institute, I am deeply honored to be a recipient of PCI's highest Medal of Honor award. My thanks also to those involved in the selection and nominating procedure. When I heard the good news and recovered from the surprise, I realized that the presentation would typically be at PCI's annual convention. Hence, traveled to and from the venue outside of Washington, D.C. These days, the thought of travel overwhelms me, and my almost 93-year-old body says, "Don't push the envelope." Thus, with deep regrets, I had to ask that the award be presented in absentia. Jason Crone, Helm Wilden, and others said, "We can do better than that." And thus, voila, here I am speaking to all you faithful conventioners from a screen. In Washington, D.C., we had morning coffee every day, and a lot of times Bob Lyman would come to Washington, D.C. for various reasons, and he would join us at coffee. So one morning he said, "I'm looking for a replacement for my technical director. Do you know of anybody in the government that would be interested?" And I said, "Well, maybe I might be interested." And so he did later come back with an offer and suggested I come to Chicago and see what things were like. So it was an easy fit. When Bob Lyman offered me the position, I did have an opportunity to meet with Norm. Actually, it was in Chicago, and he was with a different engineering firm at the time. So I had an opportunity to talk to him and ask what it's like at PCI. And so he said, "Well, like all trade associations, there's a lot of work and not enough people to accomplish it." And he said, "I don't think you'd enjoy getting into that type of a situation." And even with that sound advice, I disregarded it and took the job and found out that he was totally right. We had a committee structure in place where certain technical committees were working towards developing portions of a handbook. But that process was going slow, and basically the board wanted it to be speeded up. So they did put in a charge then in 1970 to get the handbook completed in a year. And it was quite a challenge, quite a task. But with the help of consultants and Les Martin's work as editor-in-chief and a lot of meetings, why we were able to get the first handbook published in 1971. The people at PCI that I associated were tops, and we had a general arrangement that when we were on staff and in Chicago at the time, we'd always get together at lunch to have lunch together and share our experience and talk about what we were doing so that we kept each other informed. And I think that was a very good thing. The year when I received these three hats or three titles, a lot happened in that year as far as the board of directors was concerned. Ted Goot was the president at that time, or chairman of the board, and he was pretty strong about about terminating the executive director. And so that happened, and then of course a search committee was put in place, and I was asked to be acting executive director during that time. So it was pretty much from January or February through August. When in August, Tom Battles was named new executive director and later became president. And then also the board in its January meeting approved the research budget and the research director title, and asked me, since I had been pushing hard to get that, okay, now you're the research director too, in addition to you being technical director. So 3 hats, 3 titles. You want to know what my strong suit is? I guess trying to get people with differing opinions, to get them to come to a meeting ground and to finally get a decision. There were many opportunities where that had to be done, and I think that was my strongest point, that I was able to get disagreeing parties to come to a solution. Well, I thank all of you for listening to me and hearing what I have to say. And again, my thanks to PCI and all that PCI embodies for putting this Medal of Honor award behind my name. I mean, thank you so very much.